On, guys, it is Daniel Wright, and you're here listening to another episode of Paving the Way. As you can see, I am solo today. So we are still continuing to work on this setup. We are still continuing to work on all our cord management, but that does not change the value that I am planning to bring you today. Today, we're going to be talking about how you measure progress, whether it's from the achievements that you've made or from the goals you have yet to achieve. Let's get started. All right, guys. So what do you think about this? We've had some completely different setups the last couple episodes, right? Last time I had Kelsey on here with me, kind of at a setup similar to this. Time before that, I had JJ with me. We were at the hotel down in Naples, Florida at the TCS retreat. So we've had a couple of different things. We're working on it. This is something that, 95 episodes in now, we are obviously we're committed. I actually heard a statistic, and don't quote me on the accuracy of this. I heard it on a podcast about podcasts. But nonetheless, I heard a statistic that only about 10%, maybe it's 10%, 1%, I don't know, a very small number of people ever actually go on to upload more than one episodes of a podcast, because they upload one, nobody likes it, nobody comments on it, nobody subscribes, shares, downloads, whatever, so they stop. Of that, 10%, call it 10%. They said that only about 10% of those people upload more than 20. So here we are, 95 episodes in, 5 away from 100. My good friend Brian Hess, he texted me the other day, and I think we put out the 93rd or 94th. He's like, dude, you're only a few away from 100. Like, that's a heck of an accomplishment. This is a guy that's got 600 something episodes out, and he has been committed and dedicated to the cause. But nonetheless, we are continuing to plan on showing up for you. We made some investments in whether it's the the microphones, the camera quality, the angles, different things like that, to really just kind of bring a different feel to it. I will give credit where it's due. The microphone quality and stuff, that is all JJ, our operations manager, who he was on 2 episodes ago. He used to be really big into recording music. He had a podcast of his own back in his former Trooper days. So he, long time ago, he brought this stuff in. He said, I'm not really using this. He said, have at it. So we're trying it out. We're putting some of this stuff to use. So we've had kind of sitting here and just haven't been using our resources. So we're working on it. I will say, if you're watching this, it's very awkward for me right now, because I'm used to doing this right in front of my computer that you can see on my table here, and just looking straight at my computer and talking. Well, I do use my computer for, controlling the podcast and, starting stuff and the video and everything like that. So trying to look at the camera, trying to look at the computer, not knock the microphone out of my face. It's completely different. But nonetheless, enough about me rambling about our new setup. I hope you like it. We're working on the cord management and everything like that, so that way we can clean it up and keep looking better and better for you guys. But I will tell you, I told you that we were going to be having guests on. We've had guests on. We're going to continue to have more guests on, whether it's people within our company at Proline, whether it's other guests that might either be in town or that we zoom in on calls here like this, so that way we can kind of have the split screen thing going and the conversations like that. We are working on it. We are making investments. We are brainstorming, and we are trying to grow. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and start the episode asking you, if you have feedback, if you have ideas, if you have suggestions, if you have compliments that we should do more of, whatever it may be, please let us know. Drop them in the comments, send me a message, a telegraph, I don't care. Communicate with us somehow what you like seeing and what you want to see. We're open to it. Yes, we're 95 episodes in, but we are just getting started. We're brand new at this. We're learning. We're working on it, just like everything else in life. So, guys, getting into the meat and potatoes of today. I know that you guys have missed having a solo monologue with yours truly, but I got one for you today. It looks like my computer just shut off on the back, so that's pretty awesome. So we'll try and get this all figured out. All right. For those of you that are watching, sorry about the interruption. Got the TV fixed, hopefully, temporarily. We'll see what happens. But nonetheless, no more wasting time. We're getting into the meat and potatoes of it, guys. So something that I've been working on lately, and I talked about it a little bit on our episode with JJ, is I'm working on leadership. That's one of the things I'm really trying to work on this year. If you want to say it's kind of my word for the year, you could say that. But I'm really working on leadership. I've always been a guy who kind of leads by doing, whether it's leading people, whether it's, leading by doing the tasks, completing them, whatever it may be, like leading by example, just doing the things. As the company has grown, and as I've been fortunate enough to be surrounded by people who want to take things off my plate, want to take some of the doing off my plate, and allow me the opportunity to continue growing, visioneering, and like directing the trajectory of our company, it's been brought to my attention that the way I measure my accomplishments and my progress drastically has to change, right? So whether it was in my previous businesses with lawn care and landscaping, and I was able to kind of measure my progress, but with instant gratification of I just accomplished this, the grass looks nicer, the stripes look good, the landscaping looks good, whatever it is. Whether it's that, the instant gratification to measure what I accomplished, whether it's, in the parking lot world of, hey, I showed up and you couldn't see the parking lot lines. Now when I leave, you can see them. So therefore there's gratification there. There's progress measured there, so on and so forth. That changes. That's something that's completely changed with how I measure progress now. Unfortunately, I have a habit of I measure my progress based off where I'm not yet at, right? So I have my goals. I have my sights set on where I want to go personally, professionally, what that looks like, so on and so forth. And I get into these funks, which I was, if I'm being honest with you, I was just in a funk recently because I'm not where I want to be yet. I'm not there. In this book that I've done a podcast review on it before. It's called The Gap and the Gain. I'm currently reading another book by the same authors, and they kind of did a little bit of a review of the gap and the gain. So in the book, it talks about if you're measuring yourself where you're not yet at, right? Like where your goals are and where you want to be, you're measuring yourself in relation to the gap. So the gap is where you're at now versus where you want to be. And that's where how you're measuring yourself. Well, if you do that and you're somebody who wants to achieve things and push and grow and develop, you're never actually going to feel like you've accomplished anything because you're not at the goal. You're not at the end game. You're not at the target. But you also have to be able to measure yourself on your progress, which is the gain. So the gap and the gain. The progress that we look at is where were we at a year ago? Where was I at 6 months ago? Or was I at 10 years ago? Whatever it may be. And you have to take time to realize the progress that you've made, because the progress that you've made is getting you closer and closer to the goals that you set out in front of you. And if you don't take the time to do that, you will get into what I just told you I was in, a funk. You'll get to where that you're not really sure why you're in a bad mood, why you're irritable, whatever it may be. And it's like nothing's ever good enough, so on and so forth. Well, I literally got smacked in the face, not literally, but like felt like I got literally smacked in the face over the weekend on Sunday afternoon when I'm like, man, like I just can't shake this mood I'm in, this funk I'm in, whatever it is. And the book I'm listening to just point blank, like I don't know if it was a God thing or what, but as I was out doing some outdoor cardio on Sunday, I was listening to it and it just hit point blank. It said, high achievers will never actually be happy if they only measure themselves in the gap and where they're not yet at. And I was like, man, that's exactly my problem. I have this super clear idea of where I want to go, where I want to be, how I want to get there, who I want to be there with me, and things like that. And it's not happening. It's not done. And so that's the reality of being a driven individual, guys. So if you're watching or listening to this right now, I'm sure you can relate to that you have all these things that you want to achieve, that you want to accomplish, and you get beat down because you're not there yet. Well, I hate to break it to you, but if you keep that up, that you have all these things you want to keep accomplishing and you want to keep growing and you keep playing this infinite game, if you have that mentality in your lifestyle, you will never actually get there because the target keeps moving. The goal keeps moving. The end keeps moving. And if you only measure yourself into how close you are or how much you've accomplished to getting to that goal or that end game, you won't get there and you will be unhappy You will be irritable. You will be stressed. You will be in a funk. You'll be depressed. You'll be whatever it is that's not good. Okay. And that's something that I'm having to really learn about being careful with, is taking the time to reflect, taking the time to express gratitude and to acknowledge the wins that I've had, taking the time to acknowledge the progress that we've made, both as a company, both in and also personally, individually. And it's something that I think that a lot of us, especially in business ownership, entrepreneurship, leadership, things like that, that we really get caught up in not taking the time to do that, because we're inundated with, you have to keep making progress. You have to keep pushing. You have to keep grinding. You have to keep working 28 hours a day, 8 days a week, 400 days a year, right? That's what we're told all the time. That's what you have to do to be successful. Well, being successful is a different definition for every person. So if you're getting yourself in that, if you're finding yourself getting in that trap of only measuring yourself against where you're not yet at, I really, really encourage you to take a minute, take a day, take an hour, whatever it is, take some time to reflect back on where you've come. I mean, if I'm being honest with you, right off the top of my head, a good friend of mine, James Yates, owns a company here locally in Charlotte, or up towards the Hickory area. 2023 was his first year in business, and this young man, he went out on a limb. He had a career. He worked in doing body shop, kind of sandblasting, painting, things like that. Had a good career built, and he got into the pavement industry. Forgive me, James, if you're listening to this. I don't exactly know the story on how you got in. I guess I have to have you on the podcast to get you on here and tell everybody your story. But he got into the pavement business, and I remember him and I spent 2 hours on the phone one night just going through how to do estimates, how to do proposals, takeoffs, measuring, pricing, everything that I could try to help teach him. And this young man has done a fantastic job at building a wonderful, wonderful reputation for himself in the Hickory area for pavement maintenance. And I look back on his journey over the last year, and I'm going on 8 years into my journey, and I look at it, I'm like, man, what he's accomplished in a year is freaking awesome. And it's something that I don't know if he takes time to think about that, because I know he's like me, and that he's got big goals. He's got his sights set on conquering the world. And so when you do that, sometimes you just don't take that time to look back and realize it, of how much you've accomplished. Because that right there, taking the time to do that, can be the fuel that you need to push yourself over that next hump, to get yourself to that next level. Because just measuring yourself on where you're not yet at isn't going to push you further. It's pulling you along, okay? Where you're trying to get to, that goal that you're trying to achieve, it's pulling you to it. What you've already accomplished is pushing you. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm having to push a car or pull a car, I would much rather be behind it trying to push it. You're going to get a lot more accomplished. So take some time to realize that. Take some time to look at the progress that you've made to get you to where you're at, because that can sometimes, like I said, just be that little bit extra push that you need to get you over the hump, to get you closer to your goals that you're trying to accomplish. So, like I said, guys, it's something that's just been real on my mind the past couple of days, because, I mean, like I said, just in the last week, I was in a funk. I was in one of those moods where it's like, man, I'm not there yet. Something's not good enough. We're not doing what we need to do. And it was just, literally the book I was listening to smacked me right upside the head and told me, hey, you need to spend some time actually being grateful and appreciative for the progress that you've made. So this episode is not in any way to get the attaboys or the pats on the back or any of that crap. I'm sharing this with you guys because I want to keep this journey real. I want to keep it honest. I want to keep it transparent, because I know there's other people out there going through the same shit that I go through. And I would be doing them and anyone else around them a disservice if I didn't share these lessons, if I didn't explain what it is I've learned from experiencing this and trying to push through this and continue growing and developing myself and all those around me. So, guys, I appreciate you for tuning in today. We will see what Saturday holds in store for us. But if you ever need anything, let me know. And I guess it's becoming a habit. Like, share, subscribe, comment, whatever it is. Give us the feedback. Let us know what you think. We always love the support.